I'm Abby with Motor City Nerds, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. The first time that I watched Avatar 2, Way of the Water, I dozed off. And so when it came on to streaming, I was like, do you want to know what? I'll crank it out again. Okay, let's start out. I'm just going off the top of my head. The beginning is way too long. You could have cut that down. I don't need to see this. I don't like the reuse of this marine 75 times. Why does Neytiri hate a human when she married a human? I thought that Jake Sully lost his marine memories when he got his Pandora body, but apparently that's not a thing because throughout the entire film, his children are all using American slang like dude, bro, and cuz, which I thought was a little odd. But then I'm like, okay, there were still people on the planet, so maybe you heard those things. I don't know, but that's a little weird. But this movie is absolutely gorgeous. Once again, just like with T2, just like with Aliens, just like with the first Avatar, this has set a precedent for how beautiful a film can be. And I give James Cameron mad credit for that. I know he's a lunatic living underwater, but yeah. Normally I can tell how somebody did something. I don't know how he did some of this. And it's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. But it is beat for beat the same exact thing. And I agree, we should be better to our planet, we should be better to the forest, we should be better to water. I did like all of the stuff with the whale creatures. I thought that was really cool. I don't understand why you needed to have, and it has nothing to do with, because people were going nuts about, and I thought this was kind of insulting. Because we stan Bailey Bass here, who was in an interview with a vampire. We stan her, and I hope she has a really big role in the movies coming up. But people were going nuts for a minute on Twitter, like, oh, there's not enough people of color, and then I'm like, they're aliens. But then I was like, that's kind of insulting to the people that are people of color that are in this movie, you know, and there's quite a few, and people were acting like there wasn't, so I thought that was kind of messed up. But I stand Bailey Bass. I thought she was great, but I thought she would have a much more prominent role. She had a prominent role, but she barely spoke, and I understand it was this underwater speaking, but that kind of upset me. And then I was like, why did you need Kate Winslet? Why did you need her there? Like, she barely spoke at all, and you could have given that opportunity to somebody else, maybe a person of color. That would have been cool. And honestly, I think my favorite new character was the lead chief of the water tribe. He was really cool. I really liked him a lot. Instead of it being the tree that gets taken down, it's these whale creatures. And I thought that impact was a lot more connected than when losing the heart tree or the soul tree in the first one was heartbreaking, but I thought this was even more because they were living creatures, and then to see how people are harvesting this ooze and then getting rid of it. And I didn't mind that little spider character, but seriously, did we need to save that dad at the end? Do we really need to have to reuse this marine again? We can't get somebody else. And then you had Edie Falco there. You had Carmela Soprano there that I thought was really going to bring some gusto to these villains, and you barely used her. That was a waste. It was fine, but I'm just like, why did you guys sink so much money into something just so this guy can make... If the next one is identical to these ones, I'm going to be extremely disappointed because I expected it from this one, but if the next three are all like this, I'm like, this is some of the laziest writing I've ever seen. And I'll put the clip in. I'm still not going to forget. No movie person is going to forgive you for unobtainium. Just so you guys know, when they write scripts and stuff, in the first one, when it was unobtainium that they were trying to get, I guarantee you, if you're not a movie person, we know they did this. Someone screwed up somewhere. That was probably just like unobtainable. Get it? Somebody probably just, they'll throw words in just to use in the script and then change them later. Someone forgot to change that, and that was some of the laziest writing I've ever seen. I understand that it's Pocahontas, it's Fern Gully, we've heard it's Last of the Mohicans, we've seen this story a lot, but it did set a precedent for how beautiful it is, and so did this one. But I will say at certain parts, like the 1v1 fight with Jake and the Marine, I can't remember his name right now, I literally just watched it and now I'm recording. That looked a little bit too much like a video game, and I wasn't really here for that. But once again, I don't. And the other thing I didn't understand, all of a sudden towards the end, everybody's afraid to go underwater. You guys have all been swimming underwater for 20 minutes at a time, and now all of a sudden you guys are afraid to go. I understand, like, this was very much about you don't have to be your father, but you can be different from him, and that's okay. And I think I thought at first they were going to off Zoe Saldana, but then I forgot, no, that's James Cameron's precious person. And I was like, I think it would have been more impactful to lose her than it would have been the son. But I was glad that they did off the oldest son, because it did add impact to it. But like I said, it's the same thing. It's some of the laziest writing I've ever seen. So I don't even know if you want to call this a review or just me ranting about it. But I was disappointed. I really was. I thought Bailey Bass would have more to do. I thought everybody would have more to do. The younger son, his whole thing was really cool. I really liked his storyline. But I think they were spreading themselves thin in places. Here's the part that was really weird. Okay? Once again, give somebody else an opportunity. Sigourney Weaver's voice and Sigourney Weaver's face, I get the face stuff, but Sigourney Weaver's voice coming out of a teenager was weird. It was weird. It was creepy. I did not like it. I was like, oh, there's something about this I do not like. Also, remember in the first one when Jake had all of the little things coming to him because Aowa was like choosing him? How come none of the Na'vi are picking up on that's what's going on with her? You know what I'm saying? And I did like some of the best parts were the dialogue between the chief of the new tribe and Natiri and Jake coming in, and even when she has her seizure, like, I really liked all that stuff. That was really cool. And I really like that chief not backing down at the end when he's like, no, you don't understand. We're going out to get them. Like, I don't care. And I really liked that. And I did feel like they kind of just overpowered the sky people, which, cool, awesome. We're cheering for them. But it was more of just like a massacre. I did like that giant fish getting involved. That was sick. And the whole, like I said, the whole thing with the younger brother and connecting with the outcast one, I really liked that a lot. But Immaculate Conceptions with the Sigourney Weaver stuff, I'm not, like... So you gave us a midichlorian baby. We got an Anakin baby. Cool, great, awesome. I'm just saying, if they're just going to keep repeating themselves to save the planet, just come out with a documentary saying save the planet, James Cameron. I definitely don't think there needs to be 5 of these. I wish they would have done more with the youngest sibling, because the youngest sibling kind of was just a hindrance most of the time. I cannot speak more highly about the visuals. The visuals were absolutely out of this world stunning and set a new precedent. Like I said, and James Cameron always does that, and I can give him mad credit for that. It definitely didn't need to be the length it was. Like I said, the beginning, retelling everything with footage of people from before was annoying. I didn't need all that. I don't need repeats of villains. There's just a lot of things there's a lot of kerfuffle they could have cut this down and made it 2 hours even, or a little bit less. And I think I would have been more on board. And I do think they kind of slacked a little bit with the forest creatures. Like, visually. They still looked fantastic, but there was a couple times where I was like, ooh, okay, video game time. Now, I don't know if this just went up on streaming and if this is even worth my time, but I just have thoughts where I'm just like, man, dude, Disney, did you really need to buy this whole thing? And it's just going to be like, just put money into saving the planet instead of that. Just put money into saving the planet instead of doing that. Because I know people that really, really loved the first Avatar, and rightfully so, it's great. But when you just repeat, I hope that's not what's going to happen. And I do think if they would have offed Natiri or Jake or a parent or the Marine or anything, it would have been more impactful. And then it would have been these kids trying to figure out how to navigate this world and meeting other tribes and stuff in new movies. And I thought that's kind of where it was going. But then it didn't. Of course it didn't. Why would it? Oh, but the best part about them using American slang was when the younger brother walked up to the water tribe kid and said, like, call my sister a freak one more time. And he's like, oh yeah, you see this hand? And he's like, it does this. And then he punched him and he was like, yeah, bitch. I was like, that was great. That was awesome. But that was the thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they said, like, you won't remember your stuff. But I guess they have all this footage that they can rewatch and all this stuff they can rewatch. And I don't know. It was just a little... It's kind of like giving your characters amnesia or something, where it's like, oh yeah, here we go, footage from the past. Oh yeah, here we go. This is played out. Like, it's a cheap way to get that across. And like I said, with the first one, Unobtainium, like, there's just some really lazy writing in here, and it's just a repeat. And if you just want spectacle, just say that. And like I said, he's setting a precedent, but was this the greatest movie I ever saw? No. Was it way too long? Yeah. Was Sigourney Weaver talking through a teenage body weird? Yeah, it was weird. And the other stuff was cool, but I'm just like, it's the same exact thing. And I'm not going to keep harping on to you guys about it. If you have nothing to do and you got 3 hours to kill and you want to watch something absolutely stunningly beautiful, go for it. If you love this, that's fine. It's fine. But it's not anything to write home about. It really isn't, besides the way it looks. And all I could think was, you were making these people do deep dives for like 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time. For what? I guess to make it look the way it did, but I don't know. I don't think you needed to do that. To me, it kind of, reading about it and hearing these people talk about it, kind of sounded like torture. But then again, if you know anything about James Cameron, you know he's hardcore. And I like that spider kid. He was cool. But then again, you saved the same villain and we'll get him again in the next one. I bet you in the next one they're going to convert that guy, or attempt to. And Disney, I've been saying this, you stop redeeming bad guys. Just leave somebody evil. Please, 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 please. But the detail, the culture, the lore, I think that's where James Cameron got caught up. Is like, I'm so obsessed with this world and this language and these people that I don't care about the story. Like, I truly think that's how I felt. You could have cut out all of the crap from the beginning, like 90% of it, and cut it down to, you could have cut the first 20 minutes into 5 minutes and went right into the battle, get them out of here, let's go. But we didn't do that because we have to run through the forest and we have to remember the first one, remember? And it's like, no, we don't, because we all remember the first one. But it was fine. It was fine. The whale was oh yeah. And that whale, Pycon, he was murking everybody. He was the one taking everybody on, and is the reason they even won this battle, which I loved that part of it, because it wasn't so much the Na'vi as it was the creature, and I really liked nature fighting back, and I liked that. But same thing with the first one. Instead of it being Natiri teaching Jake Sully how to do things in they even reused dialogue, calling people babies and stuff. And I'm like, you don't need to remind us of that. Instead of teaching this Avatar human, now we have other Na'vi teaching other Na'vi the same exact way that we did in the first one, but with avatars and Na'vi people. So I'm just like, I really hope that the next few aren't just repeats. I really hope they like really go for it, because it's so beautiful and it has a right to be great. And this was not great. So yeah, those are my immediate thoughts on. Yeah, those are my immediate thoughts on Avatar: Way of the Water, aka Avatar 1 repeat. But it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning, and it has some really cool stuff in it. And a lot of people were saying that Bailey Bass was leaving Interview with the Vampire for this. No, they filmed these back to back to back to back. I don't think that's the case. And from what I'm hearing, is that she left because people were going so crazy about her aging up. And I'm still rooting for her, of course. I'm rooting for her. And she, like I said, all these people were prominent, but I just thought it would be more prominent. And to me, it was more of just like, look here, look, creatures and this and water and diving, and I can be underwater for 10 minutes. And I'm like, no, that's awesome, but there's no substance here. We've seen this before. We just saw it in your last movie. And I wish it wouldn't have been that way. But it's okay to like this movie. It's fine. And I just want to give my thoughts on it. But I'm happy with Motor City Nerds. Please subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. I got a bunch of stuff coming up. I'm finally feeling back to my old self. A lot's been going on. I just lost my grandma. It was like back to back to back to back deaths, and it was just rough, and I haven't been myself, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah, all my stuff's down below, OF, TikTok, everything's down in the description. And yeah, tell me if you liked it. Like, tell me because I'm not a fan of this. I think it's very good. I'm just like, was this the greatest film ever made? No. Was it the spectacle and the visuals absolutely untouchable from anything I've ever seen before? Yeah. Yeah, it was.